Owning a home was once the cornerstone of a dream life, the foundations for family, for building wealth, and a nest egg to plan into your future and also to give some security. It was kind of one of those elements that was on the Maslow basic hierarchy of needs. But today, for millions, that is perhaps an unattainable fantasy. Families are struggling, prices are soaring, and owning a home is perhaps a pipe dream for many now. Many will try point blame at landlords, estate agents, greedy developers, vulture funds, migrants. In many cases, those groups are being painted as the villains to distract from the real reason behind the crisis and issues that are perhaps harder to overcome. In this video, we explore the harsh reality of why owning a home or having home ownership is out of the reach for so many people and why it's causing increased pressures on families and how policies are making it even worse. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Fleming. I've worked in the real estate industry for about 20 years. I'm currently working on a prop tech startup called PropGen, which is on a mission to make the home buying process easier for everyone, from estate agents to buyers and sellers. If you are in the process of buying a home at the moment, we'd actually love to hear from you, so check out the link below in the description. For the last year, I've been working on this startup, looking for solutions for problems within the housing market, and I've had to explore some of the root causes for the housing crisis. And some of those issues are actually social or perhaps even ingrained into our society now and might be near impossible to solve. The media love to pit groups or generations against each other. What was it like for our parents to buy a home? How much did they pay? Was it easier for them? I hate these type of articles because they're always tilted to tell a story and they never tell the full truth. However, years ago, a family with a single income could buy a home. And that was true because most families had single incomes. They were single income households, and therefore they were competing against other single income families when they were bidding for houses. But in recent decades, families have relied on a dual income to buy a home, which has allowed house prices to increase at a far faster pace. Even today, when you have two incomes, it's no longer enough to keep up with current house prices. And the dual income family has led to other issues that are impacting the affordability of homes. The dual income family means that families have to rely on costly childcare. It's now estimated that childcare or raising a kid up to the age of 18 costs on average of about €250,000. Let's just say the average family has 2 kids. That means you're getting close to about €500,000 spent in those 18 years. This would come out to about €14,000 per kid every single year. I'm just a new father in the last year or so. I can tell you I'm spending way more than that. So these are real costs that are impacting the affordability or even how families can grow wealth into the future. So while dual income has increased the purchasing power of families when bidding on homes, it has driven up house prices. It's also led to ever increasing childcare costs, putting more and more strain on families. If you are a single parent hoping to buy a home, you are competing against dual income buyers, and this compounds the problem. The changes that I've just mentioned as well have led to another fundamental shift which is affecting house prices as well. The age profile of buyers has dramatically increased in the last 2 decades. From first-time buyers going from their mid-20s or people who wanted to get out of their family home, now the average buyer in Dublin is 43 years of age. This changes the market completely or fundamentally how it operates, because those people at 45 have a much different requirement in terms of what they need to buy for their first home. That old phrase of getting your foot on the property ladder is no longer that relevant. People used to buy homes that matched their needs. Perhaps when they were in their 20s, they needed something small, cheap and convenient, and they just wanted a place away from their parents. They didn't really need too much. They grew out of those homes in their late 30s, traded up to a 3-bed semi-detached near schools, and again, perhaps in their 40s, they traded again. Now people are buying their first home in their 40s. Their salaries are higher, they have a larger savings, and they have a greater need than they did when they were in their 20s. They're looking at these starter homes, or their starter homes are no longer what you would classify as starter homes. The average first-time buyer is now looking towards their forever home. And the longer we wait to buy, the harder it becomes. The trap is a vicious cycle of raising expectations and shrinking options. As our needs become more and more defined, our options become less and less within the housing market. This has a knock-on effect of the number of second-hand homes coming onto the market because people just aren't trading up or down as much as they used to. These factors, in terms of how our society has changed, has impacted our ability to buy homes. And there is a case to be made that these social changes have had a far bigger impact on value and affordability than, let's say, investment funds or greedy developers. There are regulatory changes that have had major impact, perhaps negatively, on affordability too, from not enough zoned land, building regulations on size and standard. We're now building far nicer and bigger homes than we ever did before at a far greater cost. There is an increase in money supply, so therefore inflation of assets has generally gone up across the world, but that is not matched with wage inflation. So it is having a knock-on effect on affordability as well. So while we could solve some of the regulatory issues if there was political will and some hard choices were actually made, solving some of the underlying social issues that have driven up house prices and reduce affordability might be much harder to unwind. And perhaps we don't want to even unwind them.